The fans make their way to Fenway Park from Kenmore Square as we welcome you inside Fenway for Game 1 of a 3-game series between the San Diego Padres and the Boston Red Sox. Hi again, everybody. I'm Don Orsillo, and welcome to Red Sox baseball. Well, interleague play starts up again, and tonight the Red Sox take on the San Diego Padres. The Padres have had major injuries so far this season, but they're hanging in. They're 2.5 games back of the Arizona Diamondbacks in the National League West. Let's meet the Padres coming into this 3-game series. Well, the Padres leader in RBIs is Kyle Blanks, a former 42nd-round pick of the team. The leader in home runs is Will Venable. He's the only Padre in double digits, and despite not being in tonight's lineup, also leads the Padres with 80 games played. Some of the more familiar faces are Chase Headley and Carlos Quentin. Headley has struggled this season, hitting just .221 with 6 homers after his breakout season last year when he went deep 31 times. And Quentin is in his second season with San Diego. He's hit .357 over his last 29 games. We welcome in Jerry Remy. And Jerry, tonight the Red Sox have Brandon Snider again at third base, such a big part of the Red Sox win on Sunday.
Well, the Red Sox have been so resilient this year. You know, they've had injuries that they've had to call guys up for the minor leagues that have done very good jobs for him. The most recent, Brandon Snider. As soon as Drew got hurt, they had to move Iglesias back to shortstop. We didn't hear Snider's name mentioned very much during the season, but he gets the call in a big game Sunday, as you mentioned, Don. Got a double, a drive in, a couple of runs. Also played a very solid third base in that game for the Red Sox. So, you know, they just continue to get guys in there to plug holes as people get injured, and they continue to do a good job. And that's very important for the success of a team long term, to have people that they can call up, that they're confident in, they're going to get the job done on a regular basis, and Snider has done that so far.
Well, the San Diego Padres are here. That means their first base coach is as well. Old friend Dave Roberts in the house. He caught up with Jamie Erdahl when we come back to Fenway Park. And the Red Sox. Welcome back inside the broadcast booth, everybody. I'm Don Orsillo. Well, he's a World Series champion, a cancer survivor, and a great friend. He's part of our Geico quote of the day. Dave Roberts is back here at Fenway Park, and Jamie Erdahl caught up with him.
Dave Roberts, I'm sure you've asked this every time you get here, but the answer probably never gets old. What does it mean to you to come back to Fenway Park?
You know what? You know what's funny is that from obviously being here acquired in 2004, then from the ALCS to winning the World Series and the boat parade and getting the ring ceremony to coming back as a player with Barry Bonds in a Giants uniform and now as a coach with the Padres, it's special. It really is every single time, and I think there's a different story every time I come. But now as a coach, it's kind of from a different lens. where you get current players asking me how I feel, and I kind of just am so excited for them to experience being in this market and this fan base and what it means to be a part of a winning ball club.
From a coaching perspective, I have to ask, as an NL team coming into an AL park, do you think it motivates batters to get that DH spot when you come to a city like this?
What's funny that you say that is I think it does certain players because they're trying to lobby with the manager to see who gets that DH spot. Because I think when you're looking at end of June or July, guys get tired and they're looking at 3 days in an American League ballpark that maybe they might be that guy that gets the quote-unquote off day out in the field. So I think tonight our DH is Carlos Quinn. But guys look forward to kind of playing American League style baseball and just hitting. But I think that this ballpark separates itself from every other ballpark.
And your pitchers probably appreciate the break at the plate as well.
Yeah, it's funny that you talk to most pitchers, and I think they appreciate the break. But you get some pitchers who think they can still hit, and they would rather hit. But for the most part, I think they definitely appreciate just doing their job, just to go out there and try and get hitters out.
The Padres acquired Pedro Siriaco just a bit ago. What have your impressions been of his play thus far?
You know what? I think the number one thing is that he's a great kid, and he was on board from the moment he put on a Padre uniform, and very athletic. He runs really well, runs better than I thought. Got good hands, plays short, can play anywhere on the field, but he's been filling in for us at short. But like I said, he's on board, great kid, and he just kind of assimilated and blended with everyone on this club, right off the bat.
That's probably a lot coming from you, that he runs better than you thought.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I think that, it's funny, some of the guys joke with me, do they think that he could have beat me or I could have beat him in my heyday? So I give myself the nod, but very athletic and a nice addition.
I bet you could beat him even today.
I don't know. Father Time's catching up to me.
All right, thanks, Dave.
You got it, Jamie.
All right, Jamie, thanks very much. Well, last time out for John Lackey, 12 Ks and no walks. In a win against Colorado, he's 5-5. The earned run average under 3 at 2.99. The first pitch from Fenway is next. Dunkin' Donuts, Benjamin Moore, your New England Kia dealers, Salem 5 Bank and Pedroia's World, Grind's Coffee Pouches and the healthy alternative to tobacco, and by Southwest Airlines. We welcome you back to Fenway Park as we get ready for Game 1 of the 3-game series between the Red Sox and the visiting San Diego Padres. So let's check out the Padres starting 9. And leading it off is Logan Forsythe at second base with Kristen Orphea in right field batting second. Carlos Quentin is the DH third with Chase Headley at third base. Hitting at just .221 coming into the series. Kyle Blanks is in left field with Jesus Guzman at first base. Nick Hundley does the catching. He bats seventh with Alexei Amarista in center field batting eighth. And former Red Sox infielder outfielder Pedro Siriaco at shortstop bats ninth for the Padres. On the mound for the Red Sox tonight, he is John Lackey, his 14th start of the year. He is 5-5 with a 2.99 earned run average, 73 strikeouts to 17 walks, and opponents hitting at 251 against Lackey, fresh off his best outing of the year.
The Red Sox defense is brought to you on Nesson by Southwest Airlines. They're 9th in the American League with 45 errors on the season. Snider, Iglesias, Pedroia, and Napoli in the infield. Gomes, Ellsbury, Victorino in the outfield. And Saltalamacchia doing the catching for the Red Sox.
John Lackey with his 2.99 ERA heading into tonight's game. And Logan Forsythe leading it off for the Padres with a swing and a miss, and it's 0-2. Forsythe hitting at 273 with 3 homers and 11 runs batted in. This Padres team 2.5 games back of the Diamondbacks in the National League West. And after a 12 strikeout performance last time out, Lackey with a quick start tonight.
Yeah, nothing tricky about that from John Lackey. 3 straight fastballs to Forsythe to pick up the strikeout. The last one on the outside part of the plate. Nasty pitch by Lackey to get the first out of the ball game.
So 1 down here in the first for Chris Denorfia. 271, 6 homers, and 26 runs batted in. Fastball that misses away to Denorfia. And a swing and a miss. Swung so hard he fell down. 1-1.
Looks like he slipped a little bit sometimes early in the ball game after they wet the field down. It's a little bit slippery, and Denorfia taking that big swing, and down he goes.
And a swing and a miss. 1-2. Fastball, the top of the strike zone at 95. Up there again, even higher, and he strikes out Denorfia. Back-to-back Ks to start the night for John Lackey.
Well, a lot of times we see Lackey come out of the chute to 92, 93. I mean, he's 95 here against the second hitter of the ball game. Again, a high fastball, no contact.
And 2 down here in the first inning. Bud Black, of course, on the staff of the Angels when John Lackey was there. And part of the 2002 World Championship team is John Lackey here works with 2 outs Carlos Quentin. We'll take a swing and a miss here. Operating at 95 miles an hour. The former Chicago White Sox player. And the DH tonight for the Padres at 271, 9 homers, and 25 runs batted in. Wow, 0-2. This has been impressive here in the first for Lackey.
Yeah, it's just strike after strike after strike after strike.
The 0-2 pitch. On the ground left side, Iglesias plays the hop and throws out Quentin. John Lackey with a 1-2-3 first inning. Red Sox are coming up from Fenway. As on the mound tonight for the Padres is Robbie Erlin, who gets the start, his 5th appearance, 3rd start of the year. 1-0, the 3.60 earned run average, 15 innings, 12 strikeouts, only 1 walk. And opponents hitting at .259 against the Padres left-hander. Jacoby Ellsbury leading it off here in the bottom of the 1st inning. And he shows bunt, pulls back, and takes ball 1. Ellsbury starting the night hitting at .296 with the home run, 29 runs batted in. And that'll miss a little bit low, 2-0.
Erlin's been up a couple of times, up and down this year with the San Diego Padres.
And the Padres in the midst of a 10-game road trip. They started with 4 in Miami. Wrapped up that series yesterday, and now they'll be here for the 3 days and in Washington over the weekend to take on the Nationals. Swing and a miss at a pitch. It was up, and it's 2-2.
That fastball at about 89 miles an hour from Erlin.
In the air to shallow right center. Amarista is there, and he makes the catch for the 1st out. Let's take a look at the Red Sox starting 9 tonight as Jacoby Ellsbury just let it off. He's in center field with Shane Victorino in right. Dustin Pedroia at second base, bats second with David Ortiz, the DH. And there's Mike Napoli at first base with Johnny Gomes in left. Jared Saltalamacchia does the catching. Brandon Snider at third base with Jose Iglesias at shortstop. Red Sox lineup is brought to you by New England Chevy dealers. One down here in the bottom of the 1st inning is Shane Victorino climbs in on the right side. There is strike 1 to Victorino, grabbing that outside corner.
Nobody in the Red Sox lineup. You see Victorino's numbers at .291. Nobody has faced Erlin in the past.
Trying to go back out there again, but a little too far outside that time. And 12 starts for Tucson with 6-2, the 5.25 earned run average. This is line foul. His first big league start this year was at Petco Park and was against the Toronto Blue Jays. Worked 6 2/3 innings, a 2-run ball against a good Blue Jays lineup. Struck out 4, Padres won 4-3, got his first major league victory. As this one fouled off to the right. Parts of 5 minor league seasons in the Rangers organization. Originally signed by the Rangers as their 3rd round selection in 09. This one grounded foul. And Shane Victorino with the bouncing ball to first base on Sunday that totally could not make the play on. Charged with the error. Red Sox with the walk-off victory. They will take 3 out of 4 from the Jays. Fouls off another. Seventh pitch of the at-bat coming up. And a ground ball left side. Siriaco on the run and in time to get Victorino at first base. Former member of the Red Sox.
And let's look at San Diego's defense. They've been very good. 4th in the National League with 42 errors on the season. Chase Headley at third base. Pedro Siriaco, the shortstop. Logan Forsythe at second. And Jesus Guzman, the first baseman. Left to right, Kyle Blanks, Alexi Amarista, and Kristen Orfia. And Nick Hundley doing the catching for Erlin.
2 down in the 1st inning, and it brings up Dustin Pedroia. Pedroia starting the night hitting at .322. 5 homers, 47 runs batted in. Now this will be the 5th series between the Red Sox and Padres since the start of interleague play. Last faced each other June 20th for the 22nd of 2011, and that was at Fenway Park. The Padres took 2 out of 3 in that series. Last time the Red Sox were at Petco Park was 2007, and they were 1-2 at Petco.
I remember that trip to San Diego. We stayed at one of those boutique hotels.
Yes, we did, with the really good robes.
Yes.
It's funny how you remember certain trips. John Farrell and Bud Black, certainly good friends, former teammates with the Indians. This one fouled back. Meeting up for the first time as opposing managers in this 3-game series. And look at their playing careers, and as I mentioned before, teammates with the Cleveland Indians together at one time. And great friends as they come together. The only 2 current former major league pitchers who are managers. There are several that have tried and in some cases failed in the past, but these 2 obviously have done very well. And managing against each other. And John Farrell talking before the game about how he talked to Bud Black before coming to Boston and even before going to Toronto about putting together his staff and everything else. From a manager's standpoint, as down to first goes Pedroia, 2-out walk here in the first inning. Wendy's, now that's better, recognizes the Red Sox in their American League leading 50 wins through June this season. This marks just the 4th time in franchise history the team has accomplished this feat. The other years were 2008, 1978, 1946, and as the Sox sitting at a season high 16 games over 500. So 2 down in the inning. Pedroia at first base, and David Ortiz the batter. 317, 16 homers, 57 runs batted in.
See, the Padres infield does not go into the shift against David Ortiz. They're definitely playing in to pull, but not the normal shift that we see that a lot of clubs put on Ortiz.
In the dirt, blocked by Hundley. Let's get back to the John Farrell Bud Black thing. They spent 3 years together from 1988 through 1990 with the Cleveland Indians. And in 1989, the 2 combined to go 21-25, but with a 3.49 earned run average in 64 games, 63 starts for the Indians. Two-0 pitch. And this is lined to right. It's a fair ball. It'll head down into the right field corner. DeNorfield goes over to play it. As Pedroia is going to be waved around. Here comes the throw to the plate. It's going to be close, and Pedroia will be out. Did not touch it the first time and apparently tagged. Brian Butterfield is going to argue the point. As he comes down and talks to Paul Nauert. The out at the plate ends the inning. We're scoreless from Fenway. Thought perhaps he may have driven in the game's first run, but a play at the plate ends the inning. There's Chase Headley leads it off here for the Padres in the second inning. John Lackey had a 1-2-3 first inning against the Padres. 10 pitches and 9 of them were strikes. This is in the air to shallow center. Ellsbury coming in and over, and he takes care of out number 1.
A very close play at the plate last time up, as that slide by Pedroia. The question is, did the glove get his foot before he got to the bag? And I believe it did. And then Pedroia dives back to the bag. Now, does the glove from that angle look like he might have missed him? And Pedroia goes back to tag the bag, tag the plate, excuse me. But on this angle, it looks like maybe he did get a piece of Pedroia, and that's the reason the out call was made. That is the right time to send the runner anyway. With 2 outs, you send the runner, you take a chance, the bank on the relay play being great, and it was great.
So Pedroia gunned down at the plate to end the inning. 1 down here in the second. And Blanks with a swing and a miss. 1-2 the count. Kyle Blanks, the left fielder. It's a 271, 8 homers, and 31 runs batted in. Swing and a foul tip held on to. That's the 3rd strikeout for John Lackey. 2 down. Let's send it down to Jamie Erdahl.
Well, Don, as the Red Sox open up their July stretch of baseball, you can't help but look back at the impressive June and really the impressive first half of the season the Sox have had, only reaching the 50-win pinnacle for the 4th time in franchise history. So we wanted to ask you tonight's AT&T Twitter question, which is, what do you feel has been the most exciting or surprising part of the Red Sox leading the American League with 50 wins through the first 3 months of baseball? Use the hashtag SoxWin50, and we will reveal the best tweets later in the game. Jerry, what do you think has been the most surprising part of this season?
That they're in first place. I don't think anybody picked them to be in first place at this time of the season, did they?
No, I would agree with you. Definitely 50 and 34 coming in. And the other surprise being the Toronto Blue Jays being 41 and 41 at this time of the year. 2 down here in the second inning. Jesus Guzman, the first baseman, at 218. 3 homers, 13 runs batted in. This is line to left, down the line, and a fair ball. Going to bounce around to the corner. Gomes digs it out. His throw to second base is going to be not in time. And a double for Guzman with 2 outs here in the second. First base runner, first hit of the night for the Padres.
Now the first mistake that Lackey has made tonight. He had him 0-2, throws him a breaking ball. Not real bad breaking ball, but pretty good hitting by Guzman as he takes it down that left field line. Gomes with the throw to second base, not quite in time, and Guzman in scoring position with 2 outs. For Lackey, it's been pretty much fastballs all the way. Tried the breaking ball that time, results in a double.
So 2 down, Guzman at second base, and Nick Hundley the batter. Catcher batting out of the 7 spot for the Padres, and he takes strike 1. Only at 239, 5 home runs, 18 runs batted in. To center field, shallow. Ellsbury got a good break, plenty of time to recover, makes the catch, middle of the cap high to end the inning. Mike Napoli will lead it off when we come back to Fenway. Live presented by DCU. Message pregame coverage of the Sox begins an hour before every game. DCU, Digital Federal Credit Union, banking the DCU way. Now back at Fenway Park, John Lackey has been very impressive through the first 2 innings. 20 pitches, 15 strikes so far for Lackey, and he's got 3 strikeouts. Into the bottom of the second inning we go, and Mike Napoli leading it off here for the Sox. It is Napoli, Gomes, and Saltalamacchia here in the second inning to face Robbie Erlin. .261 average for Napoli, 9 homers, and 54 runs batted in. Napoli has hit safely in 9 of his last 11 games, hitting at .275 over the last 11 games. Popped up, foul ground, should reach the seats and will.
And that's one I think, Don, that Napoli would love to have back right there. 2 balls, no strikes. He's kind of got his zone narrowed down from middle in. Gets the fastball middle in, but fouls it off. The catcher had actually set up a way they wanted a fastball away. Instead, it comes inside, and I think Napoli would love to have that pitch back.
2-1 pitch. And Mike will take that just inside.
He almost got it back a little bit low that time.
3-1 is in there for a strike, and it's a full count. On deck, Johnny Gomes batting second in this inning. Here's a 3-2. And a fly ball hit well to right. Back goes Denorfia. He'll have room as he makes the catch for the first out here of the second inning. All-Star voting is coming to a close. Whether you are on the tee at home or at your desk, less than 5 minutes a day is all it takes. Vote for your Red Sox to be members of the All-Star game 35 times and automatically be entered into a sweepstakes for a signed jersey and meet and greet for the 2013 Red Sox All-Star. Vote today at www.com/vote. One out in the inning for Johnny Gomes. Gomes in the last 12 games hitting at .326. As he takes a strike call. Gomes overall at .218, 5 homers and 20 runs batted in. To left, and this is headed towards the wall, at the base of the wall. Little kick back to Blanks. Gomes held to a long single. They had him play to go the other way, and Gomes just sends it down that left field line and has got himself a 1-out single.
Well, they had him playing to the opposite field, but he got a breaking ball down and just really rifled this ball off the bottom of the wall out there in left field. And pretty good job by Blanks to get to this ball in a hurry and leave Johnny Gomes at first base with just a single. Nice piece of hitting there by Johnny Gomes as he picked that breaking ball right off the dirt to line it to left field.
1 out, 1 on. And here's Jared Saltalamacchia. In there for strike 1. There's Saltalamacchia. He's hitting safely in 16 of his last 22 games and a .278 in the last 22 games. Great many Red Sox connections in this series between the Red Sox and the Padres, not only with the players but also with the coaching staffs between these two teams. We talked earlier about Bud Black and John Farrell's connection, of course, coming with the Cleveland Indians, but there are a few former Red Sox, very good Red Sox, on this coaching staff. His pitch is in the dirt, and it's 2-1. Glenn Hoffman is the third base coach for the Padres.
Former teammate of mine, shortstop for the Red Sox for a number of years, and I'll tell you, what a wonderful guy. Just one of the best. I mean, one of the best people you'd ever meet in the game. And of course, we talked about Dave Roberts earlier. Yeah, a lot of connections.
Phil Plantier is the hitting coach.
Phil Plantier.
The 2-1 pitch. And Saltalamacchia off balance swing evens the count at 2-2. Here's Dave Roberts.
Still gets a huge ovation when they introduce his name here at Fenway Park.
Alongside Mark Kotsay, another former member of the Red Sox. Houston Street, the closer in behind them, not connected to the Red Sox. 2-2 pitch is on the ground, foul outside of third. And of course, the general manager of the Padres, Josh Burns, is an assistant GM here under Theo Epstein, and then was the general manager of the Colorado Rockies, and now in San Diego. 2-2. And is going to miss outside, full count.
Tough to send Johnny Gomes. Saltalamacchia does strike out quite a bit. Let's see how they play this on the 3-2 count and 1 out.
Gomes is off, and here's a fly ball to left field. Now Blank's back a step or two. He'll make the catch as back to first goes Gomes, 2 down. So he was off on the pitch. Saltalamacchia makes contact but flies out to left.
Yeah, one thing we've noticed about John Farrell, he does like to get guys going on the 3-2 count quite often, probably 98% of the time, and he also likes to play contact with men at third base.
Kind of force the issue.
Force the opposition to make mistakes.
2 down, Gomes at first, and here is Brandon Snider. Snider at .333. No homers, 2 runs batted in. Started at third base on Sunday, 2 for 4 with a 2-run double. As he takes a strike over the outside corner. We're talking about Phil Plantier, and there he is, hitting coach for the Padres. In Boston, 1990, 91, and 92 as a member of the Red Sox. Runner goes, pitch fouled off.
And there's really nothing Snider could do about that. He's down 0-2 in the count, and anything close to being a strike you have to swing. Gomes had a very good jump at first base. But you can't take that pitch right there. It could be strike 3.
Outside for ball 1, 1-2. I was just looking at the numbers for Phil Plantier. I knew he was good when he was in Boston, but his first year in San Diego, Jerry, had 34 home runs, 100 RBIs in 138 games with the Padres in 1993.
He had that very strange stance. Remember that?
Yes. Finished his career with the Padres and now the hitting coach. Down here in the inning, Johnny Gomes at first, and a count of 1-2 to Brandon Snider. Stays alive, fouls it back to the screen. Snider made his Red Sox debut last Friday night against the Blue Jays. He's called up on the 25th of June. 1-2 is in the air to left. Blank's going back. He is going to get there as he runs onto the warning track to end the inning. Red Sox strand a base runner through 2 without a score from Fenway. get seats at the lowest prices either for a game or all the summer's hottest concerts. Visit Ace Ticket or call 1-800-MySeats. We head to inning number 3 back at Fenway Park without a score. Mentioned Josh Burns, the general manager of the Padres. He was the assistant general manager in Colorado. It was the Arizona Diamondbacks that he was the GM for before becoming the GM of the Padres. As this pitch will miss outside for ball 1. Marista, the batter and center fielder for the Pods, hitting at .244, 4 homers, 18 runs batted in. Marista takes a pitch inside.
Inside at third base is Brandon Snider. Expecting a possible bunt. Or trying to take away a possible bunt.
And Marista coming over from the Angels with their current closer, Ernesto Frieri. This one's down the line at first and foul. Frieri closing games for the Angels. Marista played 2 years in Los Angeles with the Angels, coming up through their system. Time called as Lackey, he's been throwing strikes tonight. 40 total, or 24 total pitches, 20 strikes. Line drive down the left field line that is going to be a foul ball.
This ball slicing down the corner where there's hardly any room at all, but you can see it slice just into foul territory. About 308 feet from home plate.
Two fouled off. It's a piece of the home plate umpire, Paul Nauert. Saltalamacchi is going to go out and talk to Lackey, a bit of a professional courtesy. Give Nauert some extra time.
Hard to tell exactly where that got him, but I think it was a bad spot. Just a guess on my part, Don.
2-2 pitch. Marista grounds one towards Pedroia, slides to his right. That's the first out of the 3rd inning. Set it down to Jamie.
Well, Don, you and Jerry were talking about that special friendship between John Farrell and Padres manager Buddy Black, which began back in the late 80s when they were teammates in Cleveland. John Farrell admitted before the game that he consulted with Black when he took the pitching coach job here in Boston for the first time, and then when he became the manager in Toronto, because he respects the perspective that Black brings to the game. And Black was actually asked before the game about why there are only 2 former pitchers that have become managers in Major League Baseball today, and he said it's really a coincidence. It depends on the guy, and he really complimented Farrell on having a baseball brain.
All right, Jamie, thank you very much. Just one foul down the right field line, out of play.
The other thing, too, Don, when you think about it, you know, both guys came up under good managers, were pitching coaches under very good managers. Mike Scioscia, of course, with Bud Black, Terry Francona with John Farrell, and in the progression of becoming, you know, a manager, they've been through the front office, so they've done a lot of things like that.
And Pedroia's throw is going to be not in time. Back up the middle on the broken bat grounder, and Siriaco beats it out.
Now Siriaco, we know, has very good speed. A nice play by Pedroia to the back end, but Siriaco can get down that line, hitting .255 coming into the game since joining the Padres. A long way to go for Pedroia, the across the body throw, but not quite in time to get Siriaco at first base. Siriaco has stolen 4 bases since being with the Padres. The Padres lead the National League in steals.
And a half-hearted swing by Logan Forsythe for strike one. Changed his mind in the middle. It is interesting, Jerry. You see a lot of catchers become managers in the major leagues, but not as many pitching coaches, and not as many pitching coaches who've had successful tenures as managers in the major leagues.
Yeah, a lot of catchers, because catchers involved in just about every play of the game. They're like managers behind the plate, you know, managing every game from behind the plate.
No one to Forsythe. And a swing and a miss after the fastball. 0-2. On it goes, a swing and a miss, and the throw down is going to be not in time. Picked by Pedroia, but no chance even to slap a tag on as Forsythe struck out. That's strikeout number 4 for Lackey. 2 down in the inning.
Lackey goes with the slider out of the strike zone to pick up the strikeout, but Suriaka with a good jump at first base will beat it. The throw bounces in, and Pedroia has to make a nice play to keep it out of center field.
So his 7th theft with 2 outs here in the 3rd inning. His numbers between Boston and San Diego. Kristen Orpheus struck out in the 1st inning and will take a ball outside. 33 pitches now for Lackey, 28 for strikes. 85% have been strikes so far from John Lackey tonight. Low and away, 2-0.
This is the guy Lackey wants to, because the guy on deck, Carlos Quentin, coming into the ball game is sitting .615 with 4 home runs against Lackey.
That's pretty good.
That's not bad. Lackey got him in his first at bat on a ground ball, but he wants to go right after D'Onofrio and get him right here.
And he's got a little pop with that 8 for 13, 4 home runs.
Yeah.
That's going to miss, and he falls behind D'Onofrio now. 3-0. First 3-ball count of the game for John Lackey. Second time through the order here for Lackey. And 3-0 swinging is D'Onofrio. That helps out. This is the left field. Gomes coming in, and he'll make the catch that ends the inning as Jose Iglesias will lead it off in the last of the 3rd. No score from Fenway. third inning. Oh, there are hats, and then there's that. That is something else.
It's a lot of balloon, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
It's a lot of balloon.
Bottom of the third inning, Jose Iglesias leads it off and takes ball one. Iglesias in the number 9 spot with a .409 batting average. Home run, 9 runs batted in for Iglesias. Comes in with a 4-game hitting streak, 5 for his last 15. Down the right field line, foul. Erlin throwing a total of 45 pitches so far in his outing here. He has not been as economical as John Lackey through the first 3 innings. Red Sox had a chance to score in the first, but gunned down at the plate was Dustin Pedroia to end the first inning. Iglesias hits it on the ground to Siriaco at shortstop. Low throw, but it's dug out on the backhand by Guzman for the first out of the inning. Nice job by Guzman at first to pull that out of the dirt. Introducing Buick's 2013 starting lineup. See how luxurious design, performance, and technology come together in one stylish package, and now is the perfect time to experience it for yourself. See your local Buick dealer. One out in the third inning for Jacoby Ellsbury. Ellsbury flying out to the center fielder Alexei Amarista in the first inning and gets a second look at Robbie Erlin.
Well, second time through, Don, and a hitter should have a little better idea on how quick the fastball is, the break on the breaking ball, what type of changeup he throws. If you make pitches like that, you're going to be very successful. Fastball down in the zone, away from Ellsbury.
It's Ellsbury now, Victorino next. Red Sox batting here in the third inning. 50th pitch. And it's too far down. 1-2. On the ground up the middle. Into center field, a base hit. And Jacoby Ellsbury got down in the count 1-2, and he rifles that base hit back up the middle.
And that ground ball up the middle will be now a 12-game hitting streak for Jacoby Ellsbury. Everything was down to Jacoby in that at bat. That time he gets the fastball down out over the plate and takes it up the middle for the base hit. Now Ellsbury has to try to figure out the move of Erlin at first base.
And Jacoby hitting at .408 during the 12-gamer. He has 32 stolen bases in 35 stolen base attempts, a 91.4% success rate for Jacoby Ellsbury.
That'll get it done.
Victorino takes strike one. One point earlier this season, Ellsbury had a stolen base in a career high 6 straight games, and in those 6 games, 9 total. Was set to the club's single game record with 5 stolen bases on May the 30th at Philadelphia. There he goes. Victorino takes a ball. The throw is not going to be close, and it kicks off. The second baseman Forsythe, but not far enough for Ellsbury to continue.
Yeah, I picked a very good pitch to go on too. He got the changeup, which certainly helps. Not a very big lead at first base by Jacoby, but a good jump. He's taking a peek back. It's a changeup. No contest at second base. Hey, you mentioned those 5 steals. He broke my record.
I know.
Yeah, I thought it'd stand for a while. It did stand for a while, actually.
It did.
Yeah.
One pitch to Victorino. There's a fly ball to right field. Denorfia back a step or two. And he makes the catch as Ellsbury tags. Denorfia get himself in a good throwing position, and it hits the runner Ellsbury, but it'll be backed up by the pitcher. Denorfia did a great job of getting himself ready and showed off pretty good arm there, but it is Ellsbury who gets in as the ball actually hit him.
Yeah, I didn't think Jacoby was going to tag up there because Denorfia was in a good position. All momentum going toward third base. It was a good throw, but it hits Ellsbury in the back. If it doesn't hit him in the back, that's going to be very close at third base. When you're running the third like that on a throw behind you, you try to line yourself up with the third baseman, and that's sometimes the ball will hit you like that in the back.
And Denorfia with 3 outfield assists on the season as Pedroia takes strike 1. And a pretty good bid there. Ellsbury now 90 feet away with 2 outs in the inning. Just outside, framed by Hundley, but called the ball 1-1. Pedroia walked in the first inning, then was thrown out at the plate for the final out of the first inning. In the air, foul, and it's 1-2. Interleague has been a time of the year that Pedroia has enjoyed in the past, and now Interleague is all season long at various different points throughout the year. 1-2 in the dirt. Nice job by Hundley to slide to his right and gathers that. 2-2.
Change up that time from Erlin, and Hundley sliding to his right, actually catching the ball. And Ellsbury has to remain at third base with 2 outs.
Big Poppy waiting on deck. 2 down here in the Boston third inning. Pedroia to right field. Denorfia moves over to the warning track area and puts it away to end the inning. We are through 3 from Fenway. No score and a nice night from Fenway. Lackey back on the mound as Carlos Quint leads it off here in the 4th inning. And a swing and a miss for strike 1. And Quinn grounded out to shortstop in the 1st inning. Mention his numbers against Lackey. 8 for 13. It's .615 with 4 home runs, 13 previous at bats. High fly ball to left field. In comes Gomes as he gets there to make the catch for the first out of the inning. That's his coverage of Red Sox baseball is brought to you in part by Eastern Bank. You always put others first. Wouldn't it be nice if your bank did the same thing? With products that make life easier and a commitment to helping those in need. Here, your first Eastern Bank. One down in the inning for Chase Headley. In there for strike one to the Padres third baseman. Headley flied out to center field in the second inning. Little pop-up right side. Pedroia wants it, and he'll take it right in front of Napoli. 2 down in the inning as we check in with Jamie Erdahl.
Yeah, Don, it may look like I'm sitting here in a friendship divide, but that is not the case. I'm sitting here with John and Mike, both Red Sox fans. Well, we have a Padres fan sitting here, but we'll get to the reason for that. John, I know you are a retired lieutenant in Connecticut. You're an avid Red Sox fan. You've been to a ton of games at Fenway, but what makes today so special?
Today's so special because the three of us were stationed together in 1977 in Germany. We were in a 284th Military Police Company, and we finally got together. Mike's an avid Padres fan, so it was perfect to get him out here and Ron out here. Ron and three of us get together and come out here to Fenway, and these are the best seats I've ever had.
Well, that's wonderful. And I know San Diego being in the National League, it's not often that the Padres come to town. But I also know that you have a special connection with the Red Sox, and what is that?
Oh, when I was growing up, Ted Williams was my idol, and I later on married my wife, and her father went to Hoover High School with Ted Williams. They were both on the same track and field team together at Hoover High.
And it's been quite some time since you two have seen each other, if I understand that correctly.
Yeah, it's been a while. We had a reunion about 18 years ago, but before that it was 1977. So it's been a long time coming.
What a wonderful reason to come to Fenway. Friends cheering on different teams, but they're still enjoying a tight game here. If you come to Fenway with a unique story, visit NESN.com/stories, and you may be interviewed at a future home game.
All right, Jamie, thanks very much. This one's down the first baseline and out of the reach of Napoli. As Blanks touches first and heads for second base, he will get there without a problem. And has got himself a 2-out double here in the fourth inning.
And Napoli playing well off that line at first base like he normally does. They like to try to cover up that 3-4 hole. You can see where Napoli's playing. And the ball gets by him. It gets down the line. And Blanks gets into second base with the double. The thinking always is that there are more ground balls that go between that 3-4 hole than go down the line. That time it's right down the line. And the double.
So 2 down, Blanks at second base. Jesus Guzman, the first baseman for San Diego. He doubled in the second inning off John Lackey. And pops it up foul. That'll get backhand out of play. Outside for ball 1, 1-1. The Padres offensively hitting at .247 as a team. Red Sox nearly 30 points higher than the Padres as a team. 1-1 pitch is high, and it is ball 2, 2-1.
Now San Diego's 6th in the National League in runs scored, 9th in batting average, 7th in home runs.
For every Red Sox game that goes into extra innings or the Sox get a save, CVS Pharmacy will make a donation to Boston Children's Hospital towards the $25,000 donation this season. And the media guide comes in handy as a swing and a miss for Guzman.
You see a lot of that, don't you, in interleague play? You know, guys you're not all that familiar with, and you're checking who's in the front office, who the coaches are. Look at the players, look at their numbers, where they've played, where they've been.
50th pitch of the night for Lackey, and that's not close. Down and away, full count. Double by Blanks, broke up a string of 4 in a row, retired by Lackey. Blanks at second, 2 down here in the top half of the 4th inning. Guzman strikes out. Lackey gets him. 5th K for John Lackey, who's through 3.5 without a score at Fenway. Eastern Bank. Put your family first, job first, even your team first. Isn't it time someone put you first? Eastern Bank does just that with products like Eastern Free Checking. Here, you're first. Eastern Bank. Last half of the 4th inning back at Fenway. No score. Both teams with 3 hits. David Ortiz to lead it off. As he takes ball 1. Ortiz, Napoli, and Gomes here in the bottom of the 4th inning. For a strike, 1-1. Ortiz able to pick up his 500th double back in the 1st inning. And the top 5 among active major league players with his 500 doubles. Lines this into right field for a base hit. Single for Big Papi this time, on for the 2nd time tonight.
He's been all over this left-hander so far tonight. A double back in the 1st inning. Pulling it down that right field line. This time he gets a breaking ball. That front shoulder stays in beautifully, and the line drive base hit to right field to start off the 4th.
So lead runner on here for the Red Sox for the 1st time tonight. There's Napoli, who fly to right in the 2nd inning. Napoli hitting this season at .256 against left-handed pitching. One of his 9 home runs have been off left-handers. Pitch is high for ball 2, 2-0. High pop up to the left down the line as Siriaco going out. Blank's coming in, and that is going to be foul. And some Padres fans come over with that foul ball.
I think more than ever this season we have seen more visiting fans at Fenway Park than we ever have.
Certainly this weekend with the Blue Jays in town.
Well, they had a ton of people here this weekend. Padres fans here to see their Padres in Fenway Park.
Napoli lays off ball 3. Yankees tonight in Minnesota, scoreless in the first inning. Baltimore at Chicago, they're scoreless in the first. Both those ball games just underway as Napoli fouls it back, and it's a full count down. Alex Rodriguez rehabbing in the minor leagues, 0 for 2 so far, and that return for him is continues to work his way back to New York. The Orioles are 2.5 games back of the Red Sox, and Tampa Bay now 5.5 back of Boston in 3rd place in the American League East. Yankees have slipped to 4th. This is popped up foul off to the right, out of play. Leadoff base hit for David Ortiz. Mike Napoli here in a battle with Robbie Erlin. This will be the 7th pitch of the at-bat. And that's ball 4. Napoli down to first base. Second walk given up by Erlin, and the first 2 have reached for the Red Sox here in the 4th inning. So 2 on, nobody out, and Johnny Gomes coming up. Ortiz at second, Napoli at first. Second at bat for Johnny Gomes, who singled to left field in the 2nd inning. Gomes jumping on that first pitch and fouling it back. And 3:45 with runners in scoring position, and even better lately. It's got Ortiz at second. Napoli at first, nobody out here in the 4th inning. In the dirt and gathered by Hundley. It's a ball and a strike. In there for a strike, and it's 1-2.
That's a good pitch there by Erlin. You know, something that's very tempting, especially with 2 strikes, to chase. But Johnny Gomes does not chase this pitch on the outside part of the plate.
Up high for ball 3, full count. This one is blooped in, foul ground over by the tarp, and it will land harmlessly and jump up into the seats.
A little bit of surprise there for Johnny Gomes. A 3-2 changeup with men at first and second base, and a pretty good job just fouling that ball off. Changeup would have had me, I'll tell you, because there's no way you're looking for that 3-2.
Down the left field line, foul. Ball was crushed. Ortiz at second, Napoli at first. Johnny Gomes in a battle here with a count of 3-2. Swing and a miss. Strikes him out and changed up on him and gets the first strikeout of his outing. First down.
Yeah, I did it again. Couple of times on a 3-2 count. Goes to the changeup, and that time no contact by Gomes. Very good changeup by Erlin that time. Down and away from Gomes. It was a strike. It was on the plate.
So Erlin wins that battle. And here comes Jared Saltalamacchia. Flied out to left field in the second inning. Down and in for ball 1. That's in there for a strike. 1-1. Red Sox are 28-16 at Fenway Park this season, on the second best home record in the American League, only behind the Oakland A's. They're 26-13 at O.co Coliseum in Oakland. Pitch inside for ball 2, 2-1. Since May 24th, Red Sox are 15-5 at Fenway Park. Roy is second American League in home average, hitting at .370 here at Fenway Park this season. Up and away for ball 3.
Slightly to pull till they play in the outfield for Saltalamacchia, and the center fielder Amarista is very shallow. But Black looks like she wants a chance to hit.
Red Sox baseball is brought to you in part by Grinds Coffee Pouches, the healthy alternative to tobacco for professional baseball. For more information and to get the product the Red Sox players use, visit getgrinds.com today. 2 on, 1 away, and Saltalamacchia, the batter here, the count of 3-1. And Saltalamacchia fouls it back at the fastball, but fouls it back, full count.
Well, he sure did. He got a good pitch to hit right there. Fastball right down the middle of the plate, and straight back goes the foul ball.
Brandon Snider on deck with 1 out in the inning. Another one foul back. Rolling up to 83 pitches in his outing as he works here with 1 out in the 4th inning. '25th pitch of this inning. There's ball 4, and he loses Saltalamacchia. Bases loaded. Second walk of the inning, 3rd walk of the outing. Darren Balsley will come out here to talk to his pitcher.
Well, they got Johnny Gomes on the changeup, and Gomes struck out on it. Very good changeup. Tries the changeup to Saltalamacchia on the 3-2 count. Ends up walking him. Not tempting for Saltalamacchia at all.
Eastern Mass Lexus Dealers bring you the pitching line for Robbie Erlin. 3 1/3 innings, 4 hits, no runs so far. He has walked 3, 2 in this inning, and has struck out a batter 84 pitches deep into his outing, and in some trouble here in the 4th inning. Action for the first time as Tim Stauffer is up in the pen. Brandon Snider flight out to the warning track in left field, first time up. Fouls it back, jumping on that first pitch. Bases filled with Red Sox, 1 out here in the 4th inning. Outside for ball 1. Red Sox have left a man on base in each of the first 3 innings. Snider chasing that pitch. It was up 1-2.
Yeah, I knew he made a mistake too. About halfway through that swing, you could see the facial expression on Snider as he chased that pitch that was well out of the strike zone. Looks like they want to go upstairs again.
He was after it again, but fouls it back this time. Still 1-2. David Ortiz at third base. Mike Napoli at second. Jared Saltalamacchia at first. 1 out here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Snider grounds one down the third baseline, foul. Now, prior to this season coming up to Boston for Snider, previously saw major league action, 56 total games in parts of 3 years. The Orioles 2010 and then again in 2011, and then last year as a member of the Rangers. Here is pitch number 90 for Robbie Erlin here in the 4th inning now. 1-2. Fouled off again.
If anything, the Red Sox are building up that pitch count in a hurry for Erlin. 90 total now in the ball game.
Outside, and it's 2-2. His 2 previous starts, 92 and 98, were his pitch counts, and here he is That area now in the 4th inning, going 3 1/3 so far. Snider down the left field line. This ball will be foul. Again, a foul ball in that same location down the left field line. Angel Hernandez, third base umpire, on the call.
Gets a breaking ball and hooks it down that left field line.
Well, the last 4 batters have been very patient with Earl in a lot of long battles. Napoli had a 7-pitch at bat. Gomes an 8-pitch at bat. Saltalamacchia a 7-pitch at bat. And here's pitch 9 to Brandon Snider. 2-2 pitch. In the air to center field. Struck well. Looking up, and it is high off the wall. Ortiz will score. Here comes Napoli. Saltalamacchia all the way from first. Heading to third is Snider. He will be out at third base, but 3-run score as the Red Sox take a 3-0 lead.
Now, what a terrific at-bat that was by Snider. You know, he chased a couple of high pitches. In that at bat, he finally gets one he can work on and scores 3 men. That fastball down about belt high off that left field wall. Not missing a home run by very much, and not a lot of speed on the bases for the Red Sox, but all 3 score. You can see Saltalamacchia at first base. He knows that ball's going to be off the wall, so there's no hesitation, no problem for him to score. Good relay to third base to get Snider. Siriaco on the 1-hop throw, but the damage had been done.
So Bud Black out to make the pitching change here. Red Sox take a 3-0 lead in the bottom of the 4th inning. Red Sox have scored 3 times so far. As Jose Iglesias stands in, Tim Stauffer, the new pitcher. And a first pitch ball inside. His 17th appearance, 1-0. 3.54 earned run average, 24 strikeouts, 7 walks. Opponent sitting at 238 against him. Started warm up at the beginning of the inning, and a big double, as it turns out, for Brandon Snider to clear the bases. Strike over the outside corner, 2-1.
Now Snider had a big hit in the game here on Sunday afternoon, and another big hit here on Tuesday night.
Stoff is a guy who could go a few innings here for Bud Black as they got to get into this bullpen in the 4th inning. He's a guy that worked 3 1/3 innings on Saturday, allowed just 1 run in relief. Giancarlo Stanton got him for that home run, but he did last 3 1/3. Nice catch. 2-2 on the ground right side into right field. Jose Iglesias with a base hit. Keeps it going for the Sox here in the 4th inning.
Now, we've seen Iglesias do this a lot. You know, he'll get a pitch down and away, and instead of trying to pull that ball, he'll just take it to the opposite field. That's pretty nasty right there. I mean, that's a cut fastball or a slider that's down. You can see the second baseman Forsythe slip a little bit, but Iglesias has the base hit.
So Iglesias at first with 2 down in the inning, and it's back up top for Jacoby Ellsbury. 1 for 2 in the game. Singled and stole a base in the 3rd inning. Line into left field for a base hit. Just out of the reach of Pedro Siriaco, the shortstop, and that's hit number 2 of the night for Jacoby Ellsbury.
Now Jacoby making a push on 300. Came into the game at 296, 2 for 3 tonight. With a stolen base, hard line drive to the opposite field. So 2 guys back to back go the other way. First Iglesias, then the inside out swing by Ellsbury.
And that lifts his average up to 299 as he gets closer to 300 for Ellsbury. 2 on with 2 outs, and here's Shane Victorino. He is grounded out short, flied out to right. 0 for 2 in the game. Ellsbury has not been as high as 299 since the 6th game of the year. In the dirt, knocked down by Hundley. No advance for the base runners. So in the last 3 2/3 innings gives up 5 hits, 3 runs. He walked 3, struck out a batter, and threw 93 pitches. This is in the dirt for ball 2, 2-0. Victorino grounds one right side. Forsythe has got it. Inning over, but the Red Sox scored 3 times in the inning. A 3-run double for Brandon Snider. Advantage on wait for John Lackey, but now has a 3-run lead as he takes a hill here in the 5th inning. Nick Hundley to get it started. Alexei Amarista and Pedro Siriaco. Works out to be 7, 8, and 9 for the Padres in the top half of the 5th. There is strike 1 to Hundley. His second at bat against John Lackey tonight. He flied out to center field in the 2nd inning. On the ground and quickly by the dive. A Snider at third base into the left field corner. Comes over to play, kicked off the garage door, and into second base goes Nick Hundley with a double to begin the 5th inning. Let's send it down to Jamie Erdahl.
Well, Don, last Thursday was the 2013 NBA draft, and the Boston Celtics had the 16th overall pick. They traded up to 13 for 7-footer Gonzaga product Kelly Olynyk. Kelly was at Fenway earlier today. He met with some of the team, and he even got to go inside the Green Monster. Yes, 7-footers can't fit inside the Green Monster, and he was able to meet Shane Victorino. Victorino asked if he could borrow a couple of his inches, but I'm sure they're better used playing baseball. And despite growing up in Toronto and cheering on the Blue Jays, Kelly said he is thrilled to be here in Boston because they have such a rich sports history between the Celtics and the Red Sox.
Well, Jamie, thanks very much. He made his way around Fenway Park today, and he is big.
Yeah, big. 7 foot?
Yes.
Yeah.
1-0 pitch is in the air to left. Gomes turns around, goes back, is going to grab some wall. As to third base goes Hundley. He kind of got deked, I think, as he wasn't real sure, but he gets to third base on a long single for Amarista.
He did get deked. You know, that's unfamiliarity on the Padres' part of that left field wall. Johnny Gomes acting like he was going to catch that ball in the air, and that kind of held Hundley between second and third. This should have been a run for the Padres. Now watch right here. Johnny Gomes acting like he's going to catch the ball. That kind of freezes the runner. And the runner only makes it to third base. The more you play here, the more you get familiar with the wall. And 9 out of 10 times you're going to score on a ball like that.
So first and third with nobody out. And Pedro Siriaco, the batter, as the Padres trying to answer a 3-run 4th inning. And a ground ball to third base. Throw to second for 1. They'll come home, and back to third goes Hundley. They get the out at second and a chance for 2, but breaking for the plate was Hundley.
Well, you know, my initial reaction was, why didn't they go for 2? And the answer is because Siriaco can run. And they may not have got the double play on this. They see Pedroia catches that runner halfway between third and home. They decide to go home with it, but the ball is dropped by Saltalamacchia, and I'm not sure they would have got a double play on that anyway.
Well, first and third, 1 down. Back up top for Logan Forsythe, who is 0 for 2. He struck out twice in the game, once looking and once swinging. 2 of the 5 strikeouts so far tonight for John Lackey. And there for strike 1 to Forsythe. Hundley double to begin the inning. Amarista with a single off the wall. Siriaco reaching on the fielder's choice as they force out Amarista at second base. Lackey wanted that.
Sure did. Threw a slider, a cut fastball in on the inside part of the plate. Still staring at home plate, wondering why this pitch was not called a strike. And what happens, Saltalamacchia was set up away, had to reach across the plate, and sometimes you don't get that call.
Swing and a miss, and it's 1-2. That's how I'm going to the slider to get him to chase, and he did. Fouled off to the right, out of play. Still 1-2.
2 times that Lackey has struck out Forsythe in this game. Once was on a fastball, once on a breaking ball. That time he got him to chase a high fastball. Fouled it off.
Siriaco takes off. Here's a pop-up foul ground as Napoli heads over towards his own dugout and will make the catch for the second out of the inning. So first and third with 2 outs, and Kristen Orphea coming up. 0 for 2 so far in the game. He struck out swinging in the first inning, flied out to left in the third. Hunley at third base, Siriaco at first base with 2 down in the inning. Look at Siriaco again. No throw from Saltalamacchia, and he goes into second standing. So his second stolen base of the game.
And none of the infielders, you notice, are moving towards second base. They were going to give Siriaco second base. There was no intent to throw the ball through.
Swing and a miss. And it's 0-2. So a good pitch this inning for Lackey.
Has gone to it quite a bit in this inning. That slider down and away. Very off balance swing that time by Denofia.
Second and third, 2 down at 0-2. That's high for ball 1. Lackey coming in with an individual record of 5-5, an ERA under 3 at 2.99. And he has requested the presence of his catcher Jared Saltalamacchia.
I like the way you put that, Don. Requested the presence of his catcher. I like that.
I'm glad you liked it.
Very good. You sound very smart.
I can give you the illusion that I am smart. 1-2 pitch coming to Denorfia. And it's lined but caught at second base by Pedroia. The Padres strand 2 in scoring position. It's 3-0 Boston. By Toyota.com. Stowe, Vermont. Plan your vacation at GoStowe.com. Your Eastern Hyundai dealers of Providence. And by Dunkin' Donuts. Last half of the 5th inning back at Fenway Park, 3-0. Red Sox have the lead over the Padres. Padres threaten in the top half of the inning, but do not score. And it'll be Dustin Pedroia made the final catch in the top half of the 5th to lead it off here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Pedroia, Ortiz, and Napoli. Stauffer back on the mound here for the Padres. Came in relief last inning and got the final out of the 4th. Pedroia has walked and fly to right. David Ortiz 2 for 2 in the game, a double and a single. Waits on deck. The 85th game of the year for the Red Sox tonight as they open up this 3-game series against the Padres. Wraps up the lengthy homestand for Boston. Breaking ball fouled off at the plate. Still 1-2. Paul Nauert get hit again?
I believe so, yes. A couple of times in this game for Nauert behind home plate. Breaking ball here, topped by Pedroia, bounces out, and it looks like I got him right off that left arm or shoulder or hand.
Close pitch, not called a strike. 2-2. Outside for ball 3. Popped up foul, back and out of play. This at bat will see an 8th pitch. Bud Black having to get into his bullpen in the 4th inning after the starter Erlin went 3 2/3. His ball 4 and a leadoff walk for Pedroia to begin things in the 5th. Send it down to Jamie Erdahl.
Well, Don, June was Calling All Kids Month presented by Hood, and July becomes Celebrating Service Month for the Red Sox, and some players kicking off the month the right way. John Lester visiting patients at the Boston Children's Hospital earlier today, and Dustin Pedroia visiting with Jimmy Fund patients, signing autographs, playing video games, probably making a couple of those patients feeling very special today. There's a big smile, and that's all part of Celebrating Service Month for the Red Sox.
Well, Jamie, thanks very much. There's Dustin doing a great deal over the course of his career in the community. There's the pitch in there for strike 1 to Big Papi as him turning around.
I'll tell you one thing, that had to happen early today because he is the earliest one at the ballpark every day.
Looked like he was taking that video game very seriously, too. Did you catch that? He was very much into it.
Yep. Can you play video games?
Not well.
I can't play at all.
Not at all?
Not at all.
I told you about this Wii thing you got to get. I tried to explain to you before what a Wii thing is.
Yeah.
You got to get that because it's good. I mean, you move around.
You can play tennis. And
yeah, you can box.
Yeah.
I think you'd like boxing.
I don't know about that.
You don't have to move like all your stuff. Just the 2 pitches in the dirt has Ortiz dancing out of the way. And I think you could bowl.
Now bowling I like.
I have bowling.
I love bowling. I like the big balls.
Yeah, well it's
you know, I'm not crazy about candlepin.
You don't like? No.
I know. You know, it's got dead wood all over the place.
Yeah.
I like life.
Well, you can do that.
And on the Wii?
Yes.
Really?
And it feels like you're really bowling. This is line to center. But right in Amarista, who makes the catch for the first out of the inning.
Ortiz really has hit the ball hard tonight, and that no exception right there. Hard line drive to center field. 2 for 3 for David, a double, single, and that hard line out to center field. He is right on everything so far in this ball game tonight.
So one out, Pedroia at first base. And here's Mike Napoli. Napoli will take a ball outside. He is fly to right, walked and scored. Pedroia gains his lead, held on by Guzman at first base. Pitch in for ball 2. Red Sox so far this season in interleague play, they're 4-2. Padres are 6-6 in interleague play. Bob's Discount Furniture is going to bat for the Jimmy Fund once again. Bob will donate $1,000 to the Jimmy Fund Radio Telethon for every game saved this season. For quality, choice, and value, nobody beats Bob. Visit mybobs.com to learn more. Two-two pitch to Mike Napoli. He's outside for ball 3, full count. Johnny Gomes on deck. Red Sox batting here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Runner goes and in on the thumbs that time. Napoli fouls it off.
That's a pretty good running fastball right there at 92 miles an hour, back in the hands of Mike Napoli. They're set up inside. They want to go inside. It's probably a little bit off the plate, but a pitch that's very difficult to take.
Pedroia goes again, a swing and a miss. Throw down to second base, and Dustin will be out at second. So strike him out, throw him out, double play to end the 5th. We head to the 6th, 3-0 Boston. was Quinton leading it off with a swing and a miss for strike one. Quinton 0 for 2 in the game. He is grounded out to short, flied out to left. First 4 hitters in the Padres order collectively 0 for 10. There's the pitch will miss up high, and it's 1-1. On the ground to shortstop. Iglesias throws out Quinton for the first out of the 6th inning. Well, for tonight's twisted but true fact, we head to Pittsburgh, where the Pirates pitchers have led the team to the best record in baseball. Pittsburgh pitchers finished the month of June with a 2.99 ERA, the lowest for the franchise in any June since 1972. Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea is the refreshing hard iced tea. It tastes like real iced tea. Be a little twisted. The Pirates are 51-30 heading into tonight's action. They have a 2-game lead atop the National League Central, and they have won 9 games in a row.
That's going to be a good race out there. Pittsburgh, St. Louis, Cincinnati.
Trailing tonight to the Phillies 3-0 in the 6th inning. It's a ground ball down to Napoli at first base. Lackey covers for the 2nd out of the inning. Blaze Ticket brings you the pitching line for John Lackey tonight. 5 2/3, 5 hits. So far, no runs. He's not walked anybody and struck out 5. 70 pitches deep as he has retired the last 4 Padres in a row. Kyle Blanks, who has struck out and doubled 1 for 2 in the game. His double went to right field. In the air to shallow center field. Pedroia calling and catching out number 3. That is a 6-pitch inning for John Lackey. 5.5 done. 3-0 Boston. As we head into the bottom of the 6th inning back at Fenway. As the bleachers having a good time tonight. The Red Sox on top 3-0. Johnny Gomes will lead it off. And then Saltalamacchia and Snider to follow. It is 6, 7, and 8 for Boston here in the 6th inning. Stauffer back on the mound again. 3rd inning of relief. As Gomes takes a pitch outside for ball 1. Gomes with a single to left field in the 2nd inning. He struck out swinging in the 4th inning. And takes a strike, 1-1. Robbie Erlin, the starter tonight for the Padres, lasted just 3 2/3. He gives up all 3 runs. Breaking ball is sent in the air to left field. Blanks back at the wall, and it's off the top of the scoreboard. Fires it back into second, overthrows the second baseman, and Gomes starts the 6th inning with a double to left.
Now Johnny Gomes picks up his 2nd hit of the night. His first was a single on a breaking ball. This also a breaking ball and off the scoreboard in left field. Kind of spins up the home plate, stays about belt high, and Gomes belts it off the wall. High throw in a second base, but it's backed up by Guzman, the first baseman, and Gomes has to hold at second.
So Gomes in scoring position to begin things here in the 6th inning. Here is Saltalamacchia. Jared fly to left in the 2nd. Walked and scored in the 4th inning. Fouled off back into the seats sharply, and it's 1-1. Pitch is popped up, and the shift on it is the shortstop Siriaco on the right side of the infield, who secures the first out of the inning. We'll stay with Nesson for all the sports headlines of the day on Nesson Sports Today, presented by People's United Bank. Naoko Funayama reports from the Garden, the latest on Patrice Bergeron's health and contract extension talks. Also give you our 3 keys to tonight's game here at Fenway Park. Plus a complete update on the AL East. All that and more comes your way from Jamison Coyle and Leah Hextall following our Sox coverage.
Wait a minute. I got to give 3 keys tonight?
Apparently.
I just found that out.
I just read that. Also, we'll give you our 3 keys.
See, that's not fair.
To tonight's game at Fenway.
That's not fair. I can't give 3.
Why?
Well, because they didn't tell me till now. I should have been keeping notes.
Well, you go back and check your scorecard.
Well, I got 2 keys so far. If the game stays the way it is. A lot of game
left. We're only in the 6th inning.
There's 3 keys that can take place. I'm not digging it.
It's not like it's 8 keys or 9 keys. It's only 3.
Sometimes there's only 1 key, though.
They're looking for 3. And they promised the fans 3 because I read it. So that's what they're promising.
Well,
so you got to come out.
I can't promise 3 keys. I really can't. I can promise 2 so far, but not 3.
Well, last time you had a whole list.
I had like 9 keys.
Yeah, and then you had to dwindle it down to 3.
Yeah.
Now you got nothing. And you're starting from scratch. Bluff as diving back to the bag at second is Gomes.
If I need a third, I can always use that fake to second base.
Yeah, that was a key.
That was a key.
I think they're looking for the biggest keys though, game-changing plays.
Well, they're looking at the wrong guy, I'll tell you.
1-0 is on the ground left side. Gomes will head back to second as Siriaco fires to first. Johnny almost got caught well off the bag. But Snider's retired 6-3, 2 down. It's time for a Toyota game break and Tom Caron. Thanks very much, TC. 2 down here in the inning. Gomes at second base and Jose Iglesias, the batter, and that'll jump into the dirt. Maybe it's not you. And the more I think about it, Tom Caron and whoever's in Dennis Eckersley, maybe they're doing the 3 keys of the game from Fenway.
Well, if I do 3 and they do 3,
Well, no, maybe it's them, not you.
Oh,
no, I'm being told it is you. Never mind. Sorry.
thanks.
It's all you. I can't wait.
Who's giving you that information?
No, I was guessing. No, but I was just told that you are doing it. It's your problem. I thought maybe you had an out, but Gomes, who doubled to begin the inning. Saltalamacchia popped out, Snider grounded out, and Iglesias has a count of 1-1. This is into center field, a base hit for Iglesias. His second hit. Johnny Gomes coming around. The throw is cut off. Run will score. And they got Iglesias hung up between first and second, and Siriaco will tag him out to end the inning. But he's got his second hit, and the Red Sox have got a 4-0 lead at the end of 6. Four to nothing. Red Sox have the lead over the Padres. Hitting the Padres 9-5. Jose Iglesias driving in a run in the bottom of the 6th inning. John Lackey working here into the 7th. Jesus Guzman leading it off here for the Padres has doubled and struck out. One is in the dirt. 1-1.
You know, sometimes, Don, it looks like a bad play when a guy like Iglesias to end the inning gets caught in a rundown like that, but it's not a bad play because the most important thing is to get that run home. So you continue on at second base, make sure they cut the ball off, allow that run to score, and then if you're out in the rundown, but you get the run.
How about Iglesias, though, as he continues to hit? 2 for 3 in this game, getting a single in the 4th and an RBI single in the 6th. 75th pitch for Lackey. And it is fouled off. There is action in the pen for the Padres. Joe Thatcher is up in the pen. I just saw you write something down. Is that going to be one of your keys?
Well, we don't know. It's a big secret now.
Well, look at it. They're adding up. There they are. There's already 1, 2. You've already got 3 already. They're ready.
Yeah, but they could be more.
You can do it right now.
Yeah.
3 keys. 1-2 pitches inside. 2-2. And 5 in a row retired by Lackey. Fights out off foul. Defensive swing. Still 2-2. John Lackey, fresh off his best outing of the year. 7 innings, giving up 8 hits and 2 runs. Struck out 12. Didn't walk anybody against Colorado. Yeah, let's see here. Angel Hernandez wants to see the baseball. Unusual request from the third base umpire. He saw him go to his face. Thought the ball might be wet, I guess.
Well, no problem. The ball's returned to John Lackey. No harm, no foul.
2-2 pitch. High fly ball to deep left field. Gomes going back, looking up, and that is gone. Off the top of the wall, and Hernandez has not yet called it. Apparently that is going to be a double. I think it's gone. Bud Black is going out to argue Hernandez did not give the home run signal. He's going to get together with the other umpires, but this was up on the shelf.
Yeah, it certainly did look like it. We'll get a meeting with the umpires to see if anyone saw anything different. If not, they'll go to the videotape. Breaking ball that time to Guzman, and yeah, that's a home run.
It'll be his 4th of the year. They are getting together on this right now, and so far no review. Dana DeMuth is the crew chief, and he's saying it's gone. So there you go. Home run for Jesus Guzman, his 4th of the year, and the Padres are on the board. Now John Farrell's going to come out and argue. And his argument likely will be the guy with the best angle is the guy at third base, and Hernandez, who was overruled by another umpire. And why don't you take a look at it?
We'll take another look at it. We can clearly see there that it hits the back part of that wall up there on that padding in front of the seats. Yeah, that's a home run.
The Padres get their first run of the game. It's a home run for Guzman. John Farrell back to the dugout, and here's Nick Hundley. Hundley flied out to center field in the 2nd inning. He doubled in the 5th. And takes ball 1. In the air to center field. Ellsbury trots in and takes care of the first out of the 7th inning. Dunkin' Donuts is your stop for summer refreshment. Dunkin' Donuts Cooladas are icy cool drinks, the perfect way to chill out and cool down during these hot summer days. So hurry into Dunkin' and grab a Coolada today. America runs on Dunkin'. 1 out in the 7th inning. A run in for San Diego, and here's Alexei Amarista. He'll take strike 1. Amarista grounding out to second base in the 3rd inning. He singled to left field in the 5th. The 12 strikeouts last time for John Lackey matched a career high, which he did on September the 21st of 2008 at Texas. Was a member of the Angels. Grounded foul towards the photographer's well and into it. So far 5 strikeouts in this outing for Lackey. Has not had one since the 4th inning. He works with 1 out here in the 7th. Another grounded foul. On the ground, right side. Pedroia plays the very high hop and throws out Amarista. Sent it down to Jamie Erdahl.
Well, Jerry said he was most surprised by the Sox in first place in the AL East through the first half of this season. Time now to take a look at our best fan tweets of the game presented by AT&T. Adam is surprised by the offensive production from everyone in the lineup since the Sox lead the majors in RBIs, runs, and on-base percentage. John impressed by new hand-picked players and manager who communicates, transforming the team chemistry. Dan loves the absence of a prolonged losing streak, which I'm sure the players do as well, because there's a different player every night picking up the team.
All right, Jamie, thanks very much. That's true. There have been a lot of different guys stepping up at different times.
I like that last answer. That's a very good one. You know, the prolonged losing streaks just can bury you, and the Red Sox have not been in one. You know, they've had some rocky goes of it, but they seem to bounce back nicely.
Pedro Siriaco batting with 2 down in the inning as he takes ball 2-0. Reached twice, once on an infield hit in the 3rd inning, then reached on a fielder's choice in the 5th, and has 2 stolen bases in this game. He'll pop it up. Shallow left, Iglesias out, Gomes in, and it's Gomes makes the catch that ends the inning. Leadoff home run by Guzman gets the Padres on the board, but it's 4-1 Red Sox. Be sure to tune in for that and a complete recap of the day in baseball and how it affects the AL East. Everything you need to know on NESN Sports Today, presented by People's United Bank, following our Sox coverage. Now Guzman goes deep, gets the Padres on the board. It is 4-1 Red Sox to the bottom of the 7th inning. First blemish on the night for John Lackey. He centers that home run, but Sox back to bat here in the 7th inning, and it's the top of the Boston order. Jacoby Ellsbury, Shane Victorino, and Dustin Pedroia to bat in the inning. In there for strike 1. And the pitcher is Joe Thatcher. Becomes the 3rd pitcher of the game for the Padres. 40th appearance, 3-1 with a 2.38 earned run average. 20 strikeouts, only 2 walks for Thatcher. Check swing foul that time by Ellsbury.
Fastball from Thatcher up in the zone. Ellsbury fouls it off. The pit zone on NESN is brought to you by Amica Insurance. Great service, great coverage, and a great price for auto, home, or life insurance.
Action for the Padres. Dale Thayer warming in the pen. And the race to the center fielder swung over towards left center. Big gap out in right center field for Ellsbury. And he strikes out. A pitch down and away. Goes lunging, and Thatcher able to strike him out for the first out of the 7th inning.
Now Thatcher has to be a little difficult for lefties to pick up. He's got kind of a weird, funky delivery and throws down from the side. That breaking ball from the side, sweeping away from Jacoby Ellsbury. See Ellsbury backside, not quite into it that time. And I don't blame him.
Here's Shane Victorino with 1 out of the inning. Shane 0 for 3 as he fouls this pitch off down the left field line. Also broke his bat, perhaps. Yes. Sounded like it. We'll get a new one. Well, take your gas savings deep. Sign up for the Cumberland Farms Smart Pay check link and save 10 cents on every gallon every day. No gimmicks, no catches, just savings. Join for free at cumberlandfarms.com. 1 out here in the bottom of the 7th inning. 4-1 Red Sox on top. Victorino fouls this off himself and goes down.
It looks like it got him right off the shin.
Swing and a miss on a pitch in, and he strikes out. Thatcher with back-to-back Ks here in the 7th. 2 down.
Yeah, very tough, you know, as a hitter when you get a foul ball off the leg and you go down in a heap. That next swing usually is not very good, and that time they get that fastball up and in on Victorino as he limps back toward the Red Sox dugout.
Two outs in the 7th. Dustin Pedroia the batter. He'll pitch inside, back to the backstop for ball 1. Outside for ball 2. 2-0. Pedroia's walked twice and fly to right. That's in there for a strike. 3-1. David Ortiz on deck. Ball 4, and down to first base goes Dustin Pedroia. And a 2-out walk as Pedroia makes his way down to first. 3rd time he has walked in the game. The Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center, the official hospital of the Boston Red Sox, invites you to join the walking club. Sign up today and get a cool wristband, plus everything you need to start a walking program for better health. Find out more at bidmc.org. But Black wanted that last pitch.
Yeah, he didn't like that at all as he barks out at now at the home plate umpire.
There's David Ortiz with 2 outs and a runner at first. And there for strike 1 to Big Papi. 0-1 pitch. And that's in there for strike 2. 0-2. For the first, and back to the bag is Pedroia. 9th time in his career that he's walked 3 times in a game. And first base here with 2 down in the 7th inning. Taken off is Pedroia, and he will steal second base. That's ball 1 to Big Papi, but Pedroia's got a theft here.
Now, we talked about the kind of funky delivery that Thatcher has, but it does take a long time to get to home plate, and a very good jump that time by Pedroia. No chance. So he gets in a scoring position with 2 outs.
In the dirt, 2-2. Ortiz hits a fly ball down the left field line. Blanks hit it over towards the stands and the corner, and he'll make the catch. Banged into the wall, but made a nice grab as he ran out of room down there. But in foul ground, puts it away to end the 7th. It's on to the 8th. 4-1 Sox. Four to 1, Red Sox have the lead over the Padres. John Lackey back on the mound for the 8th inning. And why not? That is pitch number 89. This will be his 90th pitch of his outing, and it is in the dirt. Logan Forsythe leading it off here for the Padres. Action in the Red Sox pen for the first time tonight as Shinichi Tozawa warms in the Red Sox pen. Forsythe 0 for 3 in the game. He has struck out twice and fouled out. Swinging a miss at the 1-1 for a strike 2.
A lot more breaking balls for John Lackey later on in this ball game. A lot of fastballs early. More breaking balls late.
And a breaking ball in the dirt to even the count of 2-2. Top four hitters 0 for 12 collectively against Lackey in the game tonight. Forsythe, the leadoff hitter for the Padres. And a ground ball softly towards Snider at third, charging and on the run, and throws him out for the first out of the eighth.
Celebrating the 35th anniversary of the Live at Budokan record, Cheap Trick performs at Foxwoods Resort Casino's MGM Grand Theater, Wednesday, August 28th. Tickets are available at foxwoods.com.
One down here in the eighth inning for Chris Denorfia. 0 for 3, struck out, flied out, and lined out. Now, this is the second straight really good outing for John Lackey, who continues to roll along, and really it's been a very good year for Lackey. Came into this outing tonight with a 2.99 ERA. He's given up 1 run through 7 1/3, and he just gets more and more impressive as the year goes on.
Certainly does. And you know, the confidence, you can see it building and building and building every time he takes the mound for the Red Sox. Boy, in Toronto, it was so scary when he went down with that bicep problem. You thought it might have been the elbow again, and he just bounced right back from that. And right now, pitching as good as ever.
Missing for ball 3, 3-0 to Denorfia. Especially when you take into account the absence of Clay Buchholz, how much the Red Sox are relying on him and others. It's ball 4 and a 4-pitch walk. Down to first goes Denorfia. That is the first walk in the last 2 outings given up by John Lackey. This game summary is brought to you by Xfinity from Comcast. Erlin lasted just 3 2/3 innings, giving up 3 runs to the Red Sox. As John Lackey, now 7 1/3 deep, just delivered his first walk. Only blemish, a home run by Jesus Guzman. And another good game for Brandon Snider. Double to drive in 3 runs. As part of a 3-run bottom of the 4th inning for Boston. Red Sox have since added a run. It's 4-1. Carlos Quentin fouling the first pitch off to the right out of play. And Shinichi Tozawa has now been joined by Andrew Miller as the Red Sox have double-barreled action in their pen. Outside, 1-1. Rolled over foul, and it's 1-2. Covidien, delivering innovative healthcare products across the globe, is a proud sponsor of the Red Sox Foundation. Luke Gregerson is up in the pen. Padres in this game have already used Erlin, who started, Stauffer and Thatcher. They pitched in this game. It's a ball and 2 strikes to Carlos Quentin. That's outside. 2-2. Quinton with his swing and a miss, and Lackey picks up his 6th strikeout.
Now still enough zip on that fastball to pick up a strikeout on a high pitch. This last whiff is brought to you by Head and Shoulders, and that fastball up just under the letters. No contact by Quinton. 92 miles an hour from Lackey.
I told you earlier, coming into this game, Quinton had been 8 for 13 in his career with 4 home runs against Lackey. Well, Lackey's had the better of him in tonight's game as Quinton's 0 for 4. Here's a high fly ball to deep right field off the bat of Chase Headley, and back is Victorino to make the catch on the warning track. That equals the longest outing of the year for Lackey. It's 4-1 Red Sox. Rely on FW Web for expertise, selection, and solution. Visit FWWeb.com for more about this proud sponsor of the Boston Red Sox. Into the last half of the 8th inning at Fenway Park. It is 4-1. And congratulations to John Lackey, who gets through the 8th inning, and his night is over. Congratulations from teammates as the pitch in there for strike 1 to Mike Napoli. The pitcher for the Padres, Dale Thayer, his 39th appearance, 0-3 with a 3.44 earned run average. Opponent's hitting at just 198. Mike Napoli has fly to right, walked, and struck out. On the outside corner, and Napoli didn't like it. 1-2. Two and 2 to Napoli as Coach Uehara gets ready for the 9th. Suffered his first blown save. 2-2 pitch. That's in there for strike 3. Napoli knew it. Takes with him the first K for Thayer. 1 down in the 8th. Send it down to Jamie Erdahl.
Well, Don, you and Jerry were talking about how John Lackey's last start was arguably one of his best with those 12 strikeouts and no walks. Well, tonight he looked just as great with just one earned run. And there was some chatter in the clubhouse before the game about just how strong Lackey has looked so far this year. David Ortiz complimenting him, calling him a great teammate. And that you could see last year he wanted to contribute so badly because he's such a competitor. But all of that offseason rehab coming back from Tommy John, you could see paying off. He's going longer and looking stronger in each one of his starts.
Well, certainly a great thing for the Red Sox, and what we're used to seeing from him when he was a member of the Angels. Last 4 starts, he has given up a total of 7 runs in 29 innings. He's gone at least 7 in each of his last 4 starts. This is out to center. Amarista is there for the second out of the inning. Johnny Gomes retired. 2 outs in the 8th. Stay with Nesson after the game for WB Mason Extra Innings Live. TC and Hall of Famer Dennis Eckersley will break down the highlights while Jamie will take us into the clubhouse for player reaction. WB Mason Extra Innings Live. You can't go wrong when you buy right. WB Mason. 2 down in the 8th. There's Jared Saltalamacchia, who's flied out to left, walked and popped out. In tight 2-0. Coming up for the Padres in the 9th inning, it'll be Blanks, Guzman, and Hundley. 5, 6, and 7 expected. This one fouled off. A piece of the catcher, Hundley, and
Saltalamacchia had a good pitch on the 2-0 count. The fastball right down the middle, but fouls it straight back. Usually when you foul it straight back, that means you're right on it. Amica Insurance is the proud sponsor of the Amica Pitch Zone.
2-1 pitch is going to miss. 3-1. Full count now. Changed his mind in the middle, but couldn't hold up. Ball 4 and a 2-out walk for Saltalamacchia. Nesson's coverage of Red Sox baseball is brought to you in part by Southwest Airlines, Subaru of New England, your Eastern Hyundai dealers of Providence, Sullivan Tire and Auto Centers, and by Grind's Coffee Pouches, the healthy alternative to tobacco. A 2-out walk for Saltalamacchia, second time that he has walked in the game tonight. And a pinch hitter coming up here for Brandon Snider as Mike Karp will pinch hit with 1 on and 2 outs in the 8th. Another good night tonight for Brandon Snider, who knocked in 3 runs in the 4th inning. Outside for ball 2, 2-0. Well, since June 16th at Baltimore, Mike Karp has played in 4 games, 2 starts, and 2 pinch hitting appearances. So it has not been a lot. There's a swing and a miss in the last couple of weeks for Karp. Don't believe that the hamstring is an issue any longer, just having a tough time getting much in the way of playing time. Inside, 3-1. Uehara is not alone. He's been joined down by Bailey warming in the pen.
If the score remains the same, it'll be Uehara. If the Red Sox are able to tack on some runs, it will be Bailey.
Full count as a foul tip makes it 3-2. Harper fouled it back. Saltalamacchia will be off again here with the full count, 2 outs in the 8th. Iglesias waiting on deck already. A 2-hit night tonight for Iglesias. Continues to hit. He's also driven in a run. Carp strikes out. Thought he had ball 4. Gets the bad news from Paul Nauert. Ends the 8th. End of the 9th. 4-1. Red Sox on top. It's a candy bar to satisfy your sweet tooth or a healthy snack to keep you in playing shape. W.B. Mason's new expanded selection of food and beverages has all the bases covered. Who but W.B. Mason? That's 4-1. Red Sox have the lead over the Padres as some defensive changes for the Red Sox. Jonathan Diaz now in the game at third base as Brandon Snider was hit for him. This call to the bullpen is brought to you on NESN by New England Ford dealers. Koji Uehara in to close it out for the Red Sox. 37th appearance, 1-0. The 2.12 earned run average. 4 out of 6 in save opportunities. 49 Ks to 7 walks. And opponents hitting 172 against him as Blanks will take ball 1. His 4th AB of the night. He is struck out, doubled, and popped out. And he'll take it high, 2-0. Uehara allowed a game-tying home run by Jose Bautista in the 9th inning on Sunday. His second blown save of the season. That's a strike, and it's 2-1. The first that he's had as he's been named the closer since being named the closer. But did get the win. There's a ground ball foul outside of third. Before giving up that home run to Bautista, Uehara had retired 15 consecutive batters. He also snapped a season-high 9-game scoreless streak for him over 8 2/3 innings. 2-2 to Blanks. And it's fouled back. Eight innings tonight from John Lackey, who gave up 1 run on 6 hits. This is line foul down the left field line, out of play. Outfield deep and straight away on Blanks. He went around. Strikes out front, number 1 of the 9th inning. Paul Nauert said he offered. Blanks knew it, and that is out number 1 of the 9th inning.
Uehara going to his out pitch, a split-fingered fastball to pick up the strikeout. Split her out of the strike zone, but Blanks could not hold up.
So 1 out here in the 9th inning as Jesus Guzman stands in. Pitch is in there for strike 1. Be sure and check out Ness's post-game coverage, brought to you by WB Mason, Dennis Eckersley, and TC. A breakdown of the game. Jamie will bring a reaction from the players. WB Mason, extra innings live. 0-1 pitch. Popped up middle infield, and it is Iglesias around the bag at second. 2 down in the 9th. So 2 outs in the 9th inning. Nick Hundley coming up. No home runs have been hit tonight for the Red Sox, keeping their season total at 86, with Hess and Hess Express donating $500 to the pediatric trauma program for Children's Hospital Boston. For every home run, the donation stands at $43,000. Hess and Hess Express. 2 down in the 9th inning. Nick Hundley is the batter. And that is strike 1. Hundley with 5 home runs on the year. 1 for 3 in the game. He doubled in the 5th. And a swing and a miss. 0-2.
Nasty splitter right there by Uehara. Down in the zone, away from Hundley.
The 0-2 pitch in the dirt, and it's 1-2. Swing and a miss. He struck him out, and the Red Sox win. A 1-2-3 9th inning for Koji Uehara. Picks up the save in a 4-1 Red Sox win as they take game 1 of the series against the Padres. And tonight, the third baseman, Brandon Snider, able to come up with a big 3-run double in this game. Bob's Discount Furniture will again donate $1,000 to Jimmy Fund Radio Telethon for every Sox game saved this season. With tonight's save, Bob's donation total now stands at $17,000. Everybody saves money at Bob's Discount Furniture. Visit mybobs.com to learn more. So the Red Sox are victorious as they win 4-1, and we send it to Tom Caron.